Now, it's pace of play.
Come on, Glenn! Come on! Get your head in the damn game!
Putting the boys on the clock.
I guess we're playing for keeps now.
The fuck?
All right, Andy, let's get right into it. Let's talk about this USGA and R&A joint statement, which, you know, I think I read somebody said that it was nice that their joint statement didn't revolve around anchor banning or the putter issue, but they released a joint statement supporting the ruling made at the Masters after, obviously, a thorough analysis, because it was 19 days later that they made this statement. A thorough analysis of Tiger Woods' controversial drop on hole 15. Now, this was a supporting statement. Was this a good idea to release this thing, or is this unnecessary? What are your thoughts about this thing?
I'm not so sure it was necessary, but at the same time, I don't see how the USGA and R&A can go against them. I think this was a spot where Augusta and that rules committee was maybe looking for some support on to what I think was a little bit of a debacle on how that whole week was handled, from the pace of play penalty to the Tiger drop. But, I guess they have to come out in a sense and support it. Again, I think this is part of the problem when you go to try and grow the game, which is the initiatives of all of us professionals. It's just the rules are too complex, and I think it loses a lot of people, including the players at times. And, it's just an unfortunate week.
Well, I don't think this was necessary. I guess, in order to put, and they've got to protect some people for the listeners at home, for the people that are somewhat protected. Obviously, you got PGA Tour rules officials that are the best in the business. You've got former USGA guys that are on a Masters committee and R&A guys and all those types of things that are on this committee at Augusta. So the R&A and the USGA come out and obviously support those people, as you alluded to. I just don't think it's necessary. It's 19 days later. We're past it. It's over.
Probably
Tiger's
better off left alone.
Yeah, Tiger's going to play next week. And even there was some contradictory stuff in the statement that talked about the rule that protected Tiger from disqualification was not actually, the intent of it was not to protect him in this type of ruling, but protect him more from a slow motion video that could tell us something that you can't tell in real time.
Yeah.
I think they just should have left the thing alone and moved on. All right, the PGA Tour ruled this week not to suspend Vijay Singh after admitting that he used the banned substance now known as deer antler spray, which we all laugh every time we say it.
I think I need a better understanding on what this product is, because
nobody knows. Maybe we ought to start using it, see if we get better.
My first thought is it makes you grow antlers, but
so this decision has obviously been met by some divisive reaction from fans and players alike. What do you think about this decision? Should he have been suspended, or?
I think when you look at it black and white, yes, he should have been suspended based on the fact that he used a banned substance and admitted to using it. Again, is it going to help him make birdies, hit the ball further, anything like that? I'm not sure, but it goes back to what I think every professional athlete needs to know: what's going in your body. You take this stuff, whatever it may be, it has a growth hormone trait to it, and now it's on the banned substance, so you list. And I just think you got to be careful what you put in your body before you do it.
Well, I think the problem here is and people that are critical of the PGA Tour decision are not understanding where they get the information in the decision from. The World Anti-Doping Agency is actually who makes this decision on what's on the list and what's not on the list. And this substance, as I understand it, and I may be getting some of this wrong, but as I understand it, when Vijay admitted to using it, it was on the banned substance list. Then it came off the banned substance list. And the World Anti-Doping Agency said they made a mistake, that it shouldn't have been on the list. Then it was off the list. Now it's back on the list. And still nobody knows what deer antler spray is anyways. It doesn't bother me one way or another that they made this decision to not to suspend him. And hopefully it wasn't a coincidence that he withdrew from Wells Fargo this week and not play after this decision was made, to not answer those questions. But hope Vijay well. Obviously, he's 50 years old and can play just about anywhere. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Masters champion. He's a PGA champion. I think if there's ever any benefit of the doubt, the guy deserves not to be suspended.
And when you talk about one last thing, intent, I don't think it was there when he was taking it.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, Patty Harrington, this is an interesting. You want to talk about intent and some possible hypocrisy here. Patty Harrington, who is an outspoken critic of the anchor putting stroke, and wants it banned and has been outspoken to ban this, arrived at Quail Hollow this week wielding a belly putter.
Well, maybe he is making a point because he shot 80-75 the first 2 days.
He did not use it very well. Wielding a belly putter. Is this smart for him to take advantage of what some perceive as an advantage in this belly putting, or is this just hypocritical that a guy needs to say, look, if I'm against it, I'm not going to use it?
Yeah, I don't know. If you can't beat him, join him, I guess, is the one thing that comes to mind, but it's still not for everybody. Maybe he's given it a shot to put it in tournament play and see if maybe there's something to it. But, yeah, to show up with it, it's a little hypocritical, I would say. But it obviously didn't work for him.
I saw somebody talking about this particular scenario and said that it's still 3.5 years away, or 2.5 years away, whatever it is, to when this ban actually would go into effect, if indeed it does, on the PGA Tour. And based on the way he used that belly putter, it ain't going to last 2.5 days.
If he wants it gone, he didn't do his job this weekend.
Yeah. Maybe he was proving a point that this doesn't work.
Right, exactly.
All right, next question here. With the emergence of Tianlong Wan, the 14-year-old sensation at the Masters who made the cut, and you alluded to the slow play penalty, which I think was by rule was probably the right call. But unfortunately, I think they probably could have went around that whole golf course and gave a whole bunch of penalties out. So to single out the 14-year-old, I think, was unfortunate. But with the emergence of him, and now we had a 12-year-old participating in a European Tour event who didn't make the cut. I want to say he shot 79 or something like that. But a 12-year-old participating in a PGA Tour event. Is it time for golf organizations and or professional tours, professional bodies to implement age minimums to compete, not just be members of a tour like the PGA Tour has an age minimum, but actually have an age minimum to compete in a golf tournament?
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this last night, and the first thing that comes to mind for me is what the NBA did and making kids go to college and compete for 1 year there before they can come to the professional league. And I think golf is teetering on that right now. Now, I think a true open championship, maybe allow everybody, no age limits, to compete and try and qualify. It's an open, after all. But Michelle Wie comes to mind. She never really won anything and was put out on the LPGA Tour. And to be honest with you, when was the last time you really heard of her? And I think it would be fair to the kids, too, to hold them back a little bit longer and improve themselves at the junior level and collegiate levels before they just jump to the tour.
I'll tell you what, I've been a big proponent of, in your example with Michelle Wie, never winning anything. It's that they need, people and kids especially, need to learn how to win. And whether it's a high school state championship, a city amateur, or they're well beyond that and they win mini tour events, I think it's important for them to learn how to win, to know what it takes coming down the stretch. But I think the PGA Tour has got it right here. I like the fact that they have an age requirement to be a member of the PGA Tour. I'm not quite sure what the rules are for the European Tour, but I like the fact that you have an age requirement to be a member of the tour. But if you qualify on your own merit, if you win a Monday qualifier, if you finish in the top two of an open qualifier and you make it in, and you're 12 years old, I think you got to let you play. I mean, it's the way that it goes, and you qualified on your own merit. The thing that bothers me is when somebody like a 14-year-old Tianlong Wan, he gets into the Masters on his own merit. He won the event that qualifies you for the Masters, but then now all of a sudden because of obviously his draw, he's given a spot at Zurich. He's given a spot, I think, at the Byron Nelson now. You start giving these kids spots and that doesn't do them any good.
Yeah, where I was going next with it was sponsored exemptions.
All right, coming up, somewhat similar topic, but we've got U.S. Open qualifying that's starting now. Obviously, you mentioned the tournament being played up at Marion in the middle of June, but U.S. Open qualifying now is starting. We've actually got a local qualifier at here in Vegas at TPC Summerlin on Monday with a lot of next Monday, right? The 13th, I believe. 13th. Golf course will be in great shape. A lot of our local tour players and members at the club and really good players in Las Vegas participating. I don't know. Do we know how many spots that we have?
They're keeping 6 out of the 106 or 103 that they open it up to.
Okay. So there's 90. I think we have 96 players.
96 players keeping 6.
6 spots. Okay, so 96 players for 6 spots. So we're going to host that obviously a week from Monday. But is the USGA strict enough? When you look down that list, or any other list for that matter, and you see the scores that we might see as far as on the high end on Monday, is the USGA strict enough with its entry standards into this particular open qualer, even though it is quote unquote open?
Right, and I think there's 111 local qualifiers similar to ours that are being held, and over 9,000 entries received to get into those 111 qualifiers, and that's just a lot. For what's going to be dwindled down to a handful of spots. And there's a lot of good players out there. We had one gentleman, Brady Exper, in our shop this week, looked at the pairings and said this is the strongest field I've seen for a local qualifier in over 10 years. So there's golf is deeper than it's ever been. It is a true open. So I personally don't have a problem with it, but the fact that you only need to be a 1.4, I think it is, or below handicap index to compete, maybe it's time to strengthen that a little bit.
Yeah, and as well as I, that 1.4 in certain places can be fudged pretty good. Yep. It's all based on you entering your own scores to create that 1.4. You can enter 10 or 20 scores. You're less than 1.4. You come in. I think they do have some kind of a rule that if you don't break 80 in both rounds or something like that you don't come back, I think.
One good thing that the USGA does is if you don't shoot within 10 of the course rating, I think it is, you get a letter saying you can't compete again until you send in some tournament scores or vouch that you can compete at this level.
All right, so they're working on it. All right, this is the big time. You're the 2013 President's Cup champion, and you came up with this question, and I think it's a good one for us to ask. You're the 2013 President's Cup captain. This fall to be held at Muirfield. Who do you select right now as your picks if the play ended today, and why would you do that?
Well, I'll go with 2 players, and it's not too far outside the top 12 that are already qualified, but I go 1 hot player and Billy Horschel. And 2, I go Jim Furyk, who I think sitting 13, 14, somewhere like that in the standings for experience. And anytime a guy putts like that in a match play style of format or even in a partner format, it's always a plus for the whole team. It's a momentum builder.
Well, for what Jim Furyk did to me at the U.S. Open a couple of years ago or last year, whatever. It seems like it's been forever ago.
Needless to say, he's not making your team.
He's got no chance of me picking him. I'll tell you who I would. Who I would. My first pick probably that I would pick right now is Nick Watney. Nick Watney had a poor first round at Augusta. And then played 3 really solid rounds, finishing up, or at least 2 in the middle, and the last one wasn't as good, but really started to play and putt well at Augusta. He's currently 15th on the list. I think I would take him. And then I don't see how you can't take Jason Duffner at number 12. I mean, the guy is just an absolute grinder and a gamer and would be a perfect teammate for anybody else that's on that list.
Yeah, it's pretty deep all the way down to our local guy, Scott Piercy, sitting at 20 right now. And it's, like I said, golf is deep, and we've got a lot of good options there and hopefully can avenge the Ryder Cup.
All right, well done, my man. That's Pace of Play. You're listening to the 19th Hole Weekend Edition on KXNT.
When the la-la hits your lyrics, just picture head so hard that your hat can't fit you. Either I'm with you or against you.